Hi, this is Jeff Walker from Carcass, and you're listening to The Dan Chan Show.
Hey Jeff, how's things?
I'm good, Dan. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks for asking. So I'm pleased I've got you as your...
We went through all this a minute ago. You should have recorded it.
I know. This is the real deal now, you know what I mean? So
I'll bet try not to swear then.
Oh, I know you can do that. I'll edit that out. So I'm pleased. I think I've got you as your first interview of the day, because I know you've been doing a lot of press lately, so hopefully you're feeling fresh.
It's 2 p.m, I'd hope so.
So how's things been for you personally over the last 18 months up in Liverpool?
Fine. Can't really complain. It's been a nice little break from touring. Obviously, no one expected it to drag on so long, so it's getting a bit kind of tedious now. But I'm not going to complain. People have had it far worse than me. I'm happy with my own company, so I'm happy. Just it's been. If we hadn't had this forced hiatus, then the band would have continued playing and touring. It might have imploded by now. So
it's precious. It's precious time. Though we'll never get this time again, will we? In our time, hopefully.
Well, hopefully, yeah. I mean, we can't really complain. We've had it too bad. It's not like we've lived through World War II or anything.
Exactly. Yeah, you say that. So the awesome new album, Torn Arteries, is out now. This is one of the year's most anticipated albums. Does it feel good to finally have it released?
If I'm totally honest, I'm indifferent. If you hadn't reminded me it was coming out, I mean, I probably wouldn't even remember the date it was getting released. Is it coming out on the 17th? Or it's out? Oh, sorry, it's out today. It's out. It's the 17th day soon. Yeah.
You're letting me down, man.
See, I wouldn't even know it was coming out if I didn't have to do these press interviews.
This goes on to my next question, because this is like 8 years between albums. What was with the long delay? Because I read somewhere that you started writing it when you were 49 and you're now 52. Is it something to do with the fact that when you write, you only write in a room together the old school way? This must maybe slow things down.
It's not that. It's just we've been busy. I mean, the last album came out in 2013 and we've not stopped. And when we did try to take a break and stop and get together and start writing around 2015-16, we got offered a tour in the US with Slayer, so we did that. And then what happens is you just keep getting offered really cool stuff that you can't say no to. So and it's always good to do these things. So yeah, I mean, problem is time just flies as you get older. I mean, it's the years have flown. I mean, we're 18 months into a pandemic, and that's just flown by. I mean, you say it's been 8 years, but I mean, over 1.5 of those years has been the pandemic. So we try to be as fast as possible, but we just take our time. I mean, I've said it in other places. I don't think it matters if this record comes out in 10 years or it came out 10 years ago. It just sounds like Carcass, so it's not really stuck in any particular zeitgeist, Yeah,
so. It's awesome. And the way you write as well, you don't throw digital files over emails to sound out ideas. You do sit in a room and thresh it out together.
Yeah, I mean, the only times I may do something similar to that is I might throw some really rough vocals on a track in a rehearsal tape in GarageBand and send it to each member. But I mean, no, we don't write via the internet. It is a case of getting together. It's old school. I mean, Bill's such a technophobe. It's just the way we are. I mean, I guess we're just a product of our generation,
So the recording of this album was pre-pandemic. Was the delay between completing the album and the release a conscious thing because of the pandemic? And did it have an original date that got changed?
I think it was going to come out last August, maybe.
Yeah.
But the pressing plants all closed last year, so there would have been no CDs or
vinyl,
cassettes and what have you. And vinyl, and 99% of our sales are, basically our audience, the demographic is people who buy things. I mean, no one is downloading stuff, and our audience doesn't stream it. I mean, I've only just found out today that no one is offering digital downloads for sale anymore. No? I mean, the only place left that's doing it now is Apple. Apparently Google stopped doing it.
Yeah, it's bonkers. Bonkers, man.
Yeah, so I mean, if we'd have released it last year, it would have been. It doesn't matter if it's financial suicide because we've already been paid by the label, but artistically and as far as people hearing it, the album would have just disappeared because our audience are not people who. Our audience are people who buy vinyl and CDs still. So
I get the whole vinyl and CD thing, obviously, and CDs I think will be classic in about 20 years' time. But what about the cassette thing? This is just off the cuff. I mean, what's your opinion of that? Because I haven't got a cassette player.
I mean, I think it's funny and novel and kind of cool. I mean, people are making 8-tracks now. I mean, do you think anyone's got an 8-track player? I think people just like buying odd objects to collect, don't they?
Yeah, so, it's good for you.
I mean, it's not for me. I mean, I've got a box of cassettes here, and I'm wondering whether I could not of old cassettes from 80s and 90s, and I'm just wondering if they're worth anything. I mean, I've been trying to get rid of VHS cassettes, but you can't even give them away to charity shops.
You've got a machine that works. I know. So over the years, how do you think you've evolved? Because you said recently that this album stands out sonically and stylistically from the others. How do you think so?
I think it's dad rock, isn't it?
Well, this is the other thing I was going to say, because you said in Rolling Stone you described it as dad rock. Could you elaborate on that one as well?
Well, I say that just to annoy Bill. I think the reality is we're nowhere near as cutting edge or orally exciting as some of the younger bands that are out there. I mean, we're still Carcass, but I think we've just kind of aged into this kind of what you'd call now a classic rock band. I mean, there's nothing kind of threatening, I don't think, about I mean, this is me trying to be objective. I don't think we sound threatening or violent at all, but no. I hear a lot of the influences in what we're doing, and there is some classic rock in there. I mean, people are going to read this and think it's absurd, and I must be an idiot, because they'll probably just hear it and think it sounds like noise. But we certainly don't sound as extreme as what's up and coming nowadays, and we're not trying to. We're just doing our own thing and trying to please our own audience.
Of course.
I mean, this is an album that we've made for ourselves, and hopefully for anyone who's been on the same musical journey as we have since the 70s or 80s,
Mm-hmm. And the album title is a nod to an old demo from the 80s, I believe. How did you arrive at this name?
Because no one liked the other titles I wanted to give.
What did you want? What else did you want?
I think what was I saying? I think Still Life was a title I liked, and Eat Your Heart Out would have worked well.
Yeah, with the album cover.
I knew if I brought up this title, Torn Arteries, then Bill wasn't really going to complain, because I hadn't come up with it and he hadn't. So it's a neutral title. It throws Ken in the mix. And,
that's nice.
It gives a nod back to our roots and our history. So
yeah, it does. And the album cover is fantastic as well. It's great. It would have gone greatly with Eat Your Heart Out.
Yeah, and especially with the plates and the knife and fork that you
brilliant.
can buy with.
That's awesome. So over 30 years of Carcass, can you believe it? When you got together as teenagers, I bet that thought wasn't even in your wildest dreams.
No, I mean a year is a long time in that age. So I mean, we thought we'd only ever make. I mean, we were lucky to get one album out, and we thought we'd only ever have one album that was released, and we thought that album would actually be banned and be a cult thing, and something cool and clever and something.
But you wanted that, didn't you? You were pushing for that.
Yeah. We weren't pushing for commercial success. I mean, it would have been stupid to think what we were doing could ever achieve commercial success, and it still hasn't. So, we were realists. We just did it for the love of it, and we still do. I mean, we're lucky in that we're in a position where we can make a modest, frugal living out of it. But we never formed a band to be the next Metallica or anything.
So how do you still see Carcass? You see it's like underground. You still see it like bubbling underneath.
I see ourselves as a cool band. I think we're a band for that cool kid in the class.
That's it.
That one person who doesn't like, these cheesy bands that are pushed by certain magazines that sell millions of albums. And we're just the alternative to whatever is popular. Yeah. I mean, we've always dug music that is kind of special and our own little thing,
Same. I mean, I remember getting the Flawless Heartwork album when I was at school, when I was I need more extreme music, thirsty young teenager, And how much of a pivotal album was that for you, especially for the States?
It's hard to. It wasn't really a massive seller, and none of our albums have really sold that well. But it was probably the pinnacle of sales at that time, and it's had a large influence on metal in general because of the production and the guitar tone and the tuning and stuff. So it's been quite influential, but it's not really. We've never earned any awards from it. We've never earned any real money from it. But culturally, it has had a large impact, even if a lot of other bands or artists or our peers really won't admit it. So it's always nice to know you've had an impact on things. It's cool.
Do you think it gained cult status as the years grew on?
Yeah, I mean, people keep mentioning it all the time, but for me, it's just sort of
you're very humble, Jeff.
I'm not sure humility. It's just being a realist.
Okay, fair enough. So onwards, I mean, the Behemoth Arch Enemy tour has been pushed back until next year, which I was hugely disappointed about because I got my tickets for Barcelona. I was really excited for that. When are your next shows? Are you excited to the thought of getting back out there?
Not particularly. No. Next show that's scheduled is Damnation in Leeds in November.
Yeah.
Which I'm 99% sure it'll go ahead. I don't think the UK is going to be going into any more lockdowns.
No.
I mean, if you would come, you probably know this from having friends and family. The UK is practically back to normal now, and I think they're just pushing through for herd immunity now. So I mean, other than that, we haven't got anything planned. I mean, as you said, that the European tour fell through, which was no great surprise. I mean, personally, I'm happy just to dip our toes again in next summer. We've got some festivals, booked, Hellfest. Where else? We've got Brutal Assault, some others. So, I mean, I can really only see the world touring thing kind of be getting back to normal around next summer, So
I think the same.
It's a long time, but it is what it is.
It is. What can we do?
These things.
And going back to the tour, I mean, will it be cool hanging with former Carcass member Michael, co-founder of Arch Enemy, on such an extensive tour?
It's no big deal. We see him all the time, kind of, when we've been doing gigs and what have you. So it's no big. I doubt we'll be hanging because we're first on, and he'll be in the Arch Enemy universe. And,
true. Is there anything you are excited about, Jeff?
Not in general, no, not really. No, you get to my age, and
So, having produced some ferocious tracks with some incredible names over the years, what's the craziest thing you've heard about yourselves as a band? Maybe a complete misconception or something like that.
Well, there's always that cliche that we were doctors when the band started.
Yeah.
The journalist Stephen Wells said it once in Sounds magazine, and it just took off, and ever since then it's always... I mean, I wish we played up to it, If we'd been clever, we would have used it as our kind of marketing tool, but we never did, just like we never did the whole, we're vegetarians angle bullshit, we shied away from that stuff. So we were never that astute and clever enough to use any gimmick to try and push the band. Every band needs an image and that kind of thing, and we thought the music was always enough to propel the band. But as you know, being in the so-called business, the music is only part of the story. A lot of things are down to image and stuff like that. So.
Yeah. Well, that might lead me on to the next question, talking about being in the industry and stuff. Having been in the game for over 30 years, what's the biggest highlight of your career? Doesn't sound like you're going to tell me a good one with the way, you're very humble, but find something for me.
Highlight of the career is just sitting here now and got a new album out, and the fact that we can still play and make a few pennies from it, and I don't have to work. I don't have to have a real job at the age of 52.
That's
nice.
I
mean, if you look at what our first album sounded like and our musical trajectory, and we've never been commercial. It's kind of shocking that Carcass is held in such high regard, and that we get such good positioning on festivals and billing. I'm really I'm really proud of that. Seriously, it's kind of. To go from having a record that sounds like a brick in a washing machine to being able to sit here being taken seriously, it's fantastic.
So you've always been quite politically minded. Do you think that's a Liverpudlian mentality creeping in?
I wouldn't know, because I was born in St Helens. So
right, okay. Well, it's not a million miles. Come on.
Do I think that's a Liverpool thing? I don't know. I think it's a human thing, isn't it? I'm more chilled. I'm chilled out by that kind of thing nowadays. I mean, I've given up. The human race can't be saved, so just leave them to their own devices. Look at Brexit.
Well, I was just going to say that. What's your opinion on that?
What do you think? It's the most stupid thing ever. I mean, for me, it demonstrates why democracy is a bad thing. I don't believe in it. I'm an epistocrat. That's the idea that people should only be able to vote if they actually are well versed and have knowledge about what the hell they're voting about.
Oh, that's very true. Going back to the band, when the band broke up in 1996, was this a kind of finite deal, the end, definitely no more? And what made you rekindle Carcass 11 years later?
Yeah, it was definite. I mean, at that point, the 90s was a strange decade. I mean, I look back now and I think it was a horrible decade. Everything about it, culturally.
Totally agree.
Horrible.
Yeah.
We just thought we could move on and do different things, and we were at an age where you thought, yeah, you can, but what brought us back was I mean, I was touring with another band called Brujeria, based in America, and I realised from touring the world how much Carcass meant to people.
Yeah.
And it was the same with Mike Amott. Mike was getting hassled about Carcass, so yeah, it was just this perfect. I don't know if it's the lining up of stars or the perfect storm, but just the time just felt right because we were getting hassled by promoters and festivals to reform and play gigs, and yeah, it was just the right timing because I mean Bill was starting to get hassled as well about doing it. So yeah. You could say money talks and all that, but it just felt the right thing to do.
That's right. That's good. So you're a guy who doesn't mince his words, a straight down the line kind of guy. Having been in the game for a while, what's your opinion of the state of the music industry today?
It's dying, isn't it? I mean, I just saw the pre-sales for our new album. I mean, last album we did really well, but that was I think we should to like 100,000 over a few years, which again for a band like us is miraculous.
Yeah.
But I can really see it being a fraction this time. I mean, as I just mentioned, I mean, I didn't realise that people aren't even selling downloads anymore. So yeah, it's just getting more and more extinct, isn't it? I mean, it's getting more. I think being a music fan, a diehard music fan, is getting more and more a niche thing to be. I think you've got a younger generation now that music isn't as important as it was. Then you've got people of our generations where it's still meaningful, you know.
Right.
And I think the labels are going to find it hard. It's going to be a struggle for them to sell records. I mean, let's be honest. Most big metal independent labels, most of their money comes from selling merchandise.
That's it.
And selling records is a kind of break-even thing, you know.
And gigs. I mean, do you talk about new music, and do you check out new music these days, metal or not?
I listen to Radio 6 all day, you know.
Right, really?
It's really in tune, or maybe I'm in tune with what they play, and that's where I hear new stuff. And I mean, and I don't know if you ever, if you listen to it, but it's quite eclectic. It's one minute they might be playing Motörhead or Slayer or Machine Head, and the next they're playing ska or electronic stuff. And that's I'm happy with that. You know, I don't want to sit and listen all day to extreme metal or heavy metal or whatever. Or I like, I like having variety, you know.
Of course. Now, lastly, and I ask a few artists this question who I think are capable of answering it, right? So here we go. If you could know the absolute and total truth to one question, what question would you ask?
You think I can answer that? Answer to one question. I think I know all the answers. I mean, if it was to say, is there a God, I've already decided for myself that there isn't one. So,
that's so right.
If you don't know the answer to the question, you can just make it up.
Yeah, that's what I suppose. Well, that's your opinion, mate. I like it. Well, thanks, Jeff. Good luck with the album, and I'll catch you on tour at some point. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Dan.